How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about SOFI, which was up 2.03% on the day. If you remember what I said in my previous video, we should be able to get a close above $7, and that's exactly what we got today. We also did get another price target upgrade. I'll talk about it further in the video. I won't waste any more time. Let's jump into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you're a shareholder, you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to go over is the technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support. We want to know resistance. We want to know what it looks like in the bearish case scenario and as well as in the bullish case scenario. And then we're going to be going on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information. The reason why this is important because it does have an impact on the way the stock performs. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution. We want to know the buying and the selling behavior on the retail side and as well as on the institutional side. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts and as well as some more details. So let's get to it. So we're going to do a technical analysis for SOFI. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at $7.05, being up 2.03%. On the low, it tested $6.96, and then on the high, testing $7.34. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 53.726 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 67.822 million shares. So we did have below average volume on the day, but we've seen some strength in the stock. Now, when we take a look at our chart, which is a daily chart, you can see from the RSI down below, it is at 51.42. And then when we take a look at our moving averages here on the chart, we are below the 200-day, the 100-day, the 50-day, and we are above the 21-day EMA, closing at $7.05, and it is at $6.69. If you remember what I said in yesterday's video, I was looking for SOFI to close above $7, and that's exactly what we got. We also, when we take a look at these technicals, we have been forming higher lows for the past 5 trading days alongside with higher highs. So SOFI is looking really good. So the next move I want to look forward to, we continue to see strength in these markets. I want to see us get to the 50-day moving average, which is around $7.84. If we can get a move to this level, then we could potentially start testing right here at the $8. This will be a psychological area. There would be some selling pressure and so forth, but if we have bulls continuing to step in, that's where we're looking for that gap fill right around $8.48. Now, if we decide to have a pullback, of course I'd want to see us holding up support at the 21-day EMA, which is at $6.69. The low for the day was at $6.96, so that still keeps us in the game. Now, if we end up breaking through this, we already know we have a gap that needs to be filled to the downside here right around $5.78. So add that to your homework. So overall, in general, it was great to see how SOFI performed. Now let's move on to the short interest information. So we're going to take a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information for SOFI. So scrolling down on the page, green rows indicate new positions, while red rows indicate closed positions. So when we take a look at the recent filings for the 17th, we have CIM Investment Management Inc. that purchased 44,362 shares. We have Advisors Asset Management Inc. that purchased 3,782 shares, and we have Carolina's Wealth Consulting LLC that purchased 8,000 shares. So now when we take a look at the short interest, the off-exchange short volume ratio is at 55.63%, and then for the off-exchange short volume, it is just over 16.39 million shares. Scrolling down on the page, the short shares availability is at 500,000, updated 17 minutes ago, and then for the short borrow fee rate, it is at 7.52%. When we take a look at the history of the short volume, we can see for the close of the 13th, it is at 39.67, and then for the close of the 16th, being at 55.63. So what does that show us right away as far as for SOFI, and taking a look at the short interest percentage of the float being at 19.87%, it does have short squeeze potential. Now let's move on to the order flow distribution. Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for SOFI. So we see on the inflow, it was at 65.15 million, and then on the outflow, it is at 62.40 million. So we had an inflow day. Taking a look at the breakdown, on the large, it was 0. On the medium, it was 42.92, and then on the small, it was 22.23. On the outflow side, you can see on the large, it was 0. On the medium, it was 38.12 million, and then on the small, it was 24.28 million. And then when we take a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, we could see for today, May the 17th, we actually had 0. And then analyzing the numbers even further for the small scale orders that tend to represent the retail side, we had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at what happened on the medium, we had more buying than we had selling. And then when we take a look at the large, it represents whales, institutions, and funds, we had 0 on both sides. And then when we take a look at the turnover ratio, it was at 5.88%. So this is a consistent range for SOFI, so this is good to see. And as far as for the overall volatility, I'm loving it. And we are continuing to have those green days piling up. I'll talk about it further inside of the final thoughts, so let's get into it right now. So for my final thoughts for SOFI, before we start talking about the price action, let's talk about the price target. So we had Mizuho Securities, sorry if I butchered that name, gave them a $9 price target, and previously it was at $14. Again, this has been consistent down the board with the recent price targets that we have been receiving. And of course, this helps with the stock because it does show there is some upside considering where the stock price is trading at. Now let's talk about the price action. So we have the 21-day EMA, which is around $6.69. So as long as we're able to stay above this level, SOFI continues to look good. As far as for the low on today, we got down to $6.96. So going into tomorrow, we want to see $7 continue to hold. Why? Because we're looking for another higher low. And the one thing that I want to point out as well is the upside. So SOFI, there is some potential where we want to see it get to around $7.84. This would be the move that you want to look for. And if it can get to this level, then we can fill in that gap to the upside, which is around $8.48. And the reason why these levels are very important, if we continue to see strength in the markets, we're going to continue to see strength in SOFI stock. Now let's talk about the pullback as far as for the downside is concerned. If $7 does not hold up, like I said, you want to see if $6.96 can hold, which was the low of the day. But if it ends up breaking through this level, it can get interesting. And why is that interesting? Because when we take a look at the gap to the downside that needs to be filled, it is around $5.78. So once that gap is filled in, of course, we're going to expect bulls wanting to step in and buy the stock. If not, then of course we will pull back even further. So at least you know what it looks like to the downside and you know what it looks like to the upside. So if you're a trader, you have a good idea of what your ranges look like. Also, when we went on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership, we could see institutions are continuing to load up on shares. No surprises there. And then taking a look at the short interest information, SOFI does continue to have short squeeze potential. And that's part of the reasons why we see sharp moves in price action. It has been on quite the run. The chart looks technically strong and it's been forming higher lows for the past 5 trading days. I must say, very impressive. So let's see how the stock performs going into tomorrow, but at least you guys are prepared for the volatility that's ahead. So let's see if we can have a green day. So I hope you enjoyed this video and we'll be talking real soon.